Okay. So today, I want to try something different. I want to try this game that is called Vagrus. Should be quite interesting. It's gonna be mainly about probably like stories and reading. I feel like the most similar thing we played to it is Sunless Sky or Sunless Sea. Vagrus is a game that involves a fair amount of reading, and exactly as I expected, if it is to be enjoyed and experienced as intended by the developers. It is also a difficult game with little hand-holding, where success by no means is guaranteed. You will probably lose everything several times before getting the hang of leading your traveling company. Vagrus is also a labor of love created by a tiny team that dared dream big with the support of an amazing little community. Yeah, that's the thing, like, community feels very small. But the game has very good reviews about it. We're extremely grateful to all those that helped us along the way with constructive criticism. All right. Can I hold? Oh, I can hold the mouse button. Not necessary space. Comitatus. It's gonna be like Latin. An armed traveling company. It usually carries cargo and passengers across the wastelands of the continent. It can get involved in a variety of jobs ranging from trading to mercenary work. Vagrus. Yeah, I'm a slow reader.
The River Realms, they call it. What a fine poetic name for something as rotten and twisted as our land has become. It was not always so. Long ago, the old empire, the noblest and most enduring society created by humankind, spanned almost the entire continent of Zerine, the cradle of man. But after several millennia of progress and incomparable achievements, inevitably, the empire began to fall into stagnation and decadence. Desperately holding on to their privileges and resisting change while trying to avert the collapse of the realm, the emperor and his theocracy took to measures that were worthy of true despots in cruelty. Subjugating weaker realms, enslaving whole nations, strip mining foreign resources,
Basically Rome.
imperial citizens, war on several fronts.
I could tell where they were like drawing from, right?
Eventually the gods could no
Colosseum.
longer tolerate such horrors wrought in their name. Foretold by an abundance of divine omens, they descended upon the empire to right its wrongs. Thus, in a chain of dreadful events that became known as the Calamity, they annihilated the empire in a matter of days. The gods then finally saw what they had done in their anger and confusion. It is said that so much grief and shame filled them that they were broken and they left this reality, never to return. The continent and its inhabitants seemed dead, but at length
They did like little
survivors
scars.
began to crawl out of their hiding holes and faced a land that no longer welcomed them. Arcane anomalies, the fallout of the Calamity, now riddled the continent, and people realized that they had to share their new home with changed and twisted creatures. terrible beings entered through the cracks in the tapestry of reality and rose to rule over the natives. In time, these new powers rebuilt the fallen empire in their own image, and the river realms, now godless and vengeful,
Cracks of reality.
from the ashes. The inhabitants of the land, such as I, now eke out a living under the crushing rule of the new empire. The continent itself constantly resists our every attempt at building a cozy home for ourselves. As travel is dangerous, many ventures specialize in transferring cargo and passengers over bleak and deadly leagues of land. Others try to take everything of value from said travelers, or attempt to find buried treasures among the ruins of the old empire. The leaders of the endeavors are, some say, the bravest men and women of the river realms. Such a leader is called a Vagrus.
What kind of animal is this supposed to be? Kind of like big frog. Alright, we have two modes. Wasteland mode. This is the way Vagrus was intended to be played by the developers. The setting is cruel, harsh, unforgiving place, and so the game will not pull any punches. Expect a steep difficulty curve and little to no hand holding. Save often because you will probably run into dead ends and deaths from time to time. Wasteland mode. The other one is Dissonance mode. So you don't get achievements, you don't get... What else though you don't get? You cannot tell. It doesn't... Okay, well. This game mode is tailored more towards the narrative experience. Combat management and almost all other aspects of the game are less challenging. The result is smoother difficulty at cost of alignment with the setting. Because in certain... Dissonance. Lack of agreement, consistency, or harmony conflict. Okay. Achievements are turned off in this mode. Well, as expected. Nothing beside remains around the decay of the colossal wreck, boundless and bare. The lone and level sands stretch far away. Ozymandias. Percibicelli.
Ah, yes. A Vagrus. What a profession. Daring and savvy, always watching the horizon, always looking for an opportunity, and of course, for what is best for his comitatus, eh? And you are a Vagrus too, are you not? Many of your kind have I seen in my long life as a vagabond. Care to listen to a story about your exquisite occupation, good master? It is a tale of woe and terror, but it is also a tale that is true, as I have seen it with mine own eyes.
Okay, cool. If somebody helps me read through all that is great. That means I don't have to read. I was not expecting that. That's actually really nice. Tell us your tale, old man. It'll at least help kill the time. Play the Pilgrim of Wasteland. Skip Pilgrims of a Wasteland. We don't want any ghost stories. Old timer. Alright.
Wise you are, good master. My tale is of a Vagrus, such as yourself, but one whose fate was cursed and wrought with ill fortune. It all happened a long time ago. 10 years, maybe more. I was but a passenger, traveling rough roads and forgotten ways with this comitatus, south along the feet of the great mountains of the west.
What is PG rating of Vagrus? Do they have a rating? I wonder. Alright. Start Pilgrims of a Wasteland.
This comitatus I speak of had fallen under hard times. Perhaps it was due to imperial harassment or unfortunate decisions, or simply bad luck. Irafrons, saint of roads, does not always smile on us mere mortals. But however it came to pass, their coin was drying up, and their opportunities seemed few and far between. One of the last chances their Vagrus saw was to travel to the remote town of Scrapheap and spend their remaining funds to stock up on cheap scrap metal. This metal could be sold for great profit over in the east and south. It wasn't a bad plan, truly, but it was not without risks either.
And what were the risks? Welcome to the Pilgrims of the Wasteland, a stand-alone story of Vagrus, the Riven Realms. It serves as an introduction to the setting and also as a tutorial to the game. Yeah, that's what that's what I thought. It would be like a tutorial. It behooves you to read the tutorial text and follow the instructions to gain a better understanding of how the game works. The icon, the location icon, can be clicked in tutorial windows to show what the section is referring to via pointer. Note that you have to be on the right UI screen for the pointer to appear. All of Vagrus is an open world due to the Pilgrims of the Wasteland being a tutorial. It progresses along a narrow guided path in the beginning and opens up only later, after the core mechanics have been introduced. You can access hotkey list by pressing F11. Can't press right away. Whoopsies. Oh, there it is. Or is it? Yeah, it has to be here. Alright, what we have here? Load game, so you can save games, right? Does it change the mode if I save a game? I wonder. Main menu F10. Enter Explore E. Leave settlements L. L. It's so far. Scouting S. Acquire supplies H. Camp Y. Quick camp Shift plus Y. Return. What do you want to do, cat? Okay. End camp return, codex, journal, notes, notes. Glossary, leader, V. I feel like I'm gonna be clicking that. Game log, chart, price history, crew tab. It's nice it has notes. Like, are those notes I can write, I wonder? Crew tab, companion tab, cargo tab, CR. Okay, those will be useful. Duties tab, D. Story tab, T. Markets, Mancio. Factions, oh my god, there's so much. Mod IO interface. F4. chart. Event. Combat. Use skill space, switch target, inspire, boost, empower. Okay, that's in combat. Aid, prepare, forfeit, combat sheet. Combat log. That seems to be a lot. That seems to be a lot. What happens if I click F4? Nothing. Okay, continue. Alright, here's the UI, I guess. On the campaign map, your comitatus, traveling company, always occupies a node and moves between nodes through paths. Moving along paths costs movement points, indicated next to each other to each path. Okay, so each move costs a certain amount of points. The longer it is, the more it costs. Every in-game day, you have a number of movement points to spend before you need to camp. You need to spend. Do I really need to? Basically, the points you spend before you camp. To move. Kitty cat. Thank you. To move, click on nearby node and select move from the radial menu. You can select a node that is farther away. The MP move point costs of moving there will be calculated and the path highlighted. Move to scrap. Alright. Scrap heap. How about, what is this? Move? Because. What else we have here? Haven't got ahead. Okay, yeah, so there is some reading. Okay, cool. Let me... Having gone ahead of the column with a handful of scouts, you watch from afar as your comitatus slowly trudges along broken terrain, making its way south ponderously among the dormant geysers. All around you, the hills smolder lazily in the perpetual twilight. Cool setting, cool drawing. Are you alright? Javek's voice resonates with sympathy as he appears next to you on the ridge. You nod slowly, but do not look at him, your gaze lost in the distance where ash cloaks the horizon and the towering mountains to the south and west. Okay, so the language so far is reasonably easy, thank God, because, you know, some of those writers use a lot of, like, rich language, and a lot of it I don't even know. You turn to your comms and note his supportive smile. You and Javek, God, I wonder how you read him. Javek? Is he gonna be Javek or Javik? Javik sounds cooler. Even though I think it's supposed to be Javek. Have been traveling the realms together for years now. There's no person in the world you trust more than him, except perhaps yourself. Not everybody trusts themselves, right? I know you feel that your hands are tied, but like I said before, you made the right choice by leading us here. Trying to console us, huh? Time will tell, but I still have my doubts. So this is a tutorial, but still it like gives us some choices, which is kind of interesting because I was expecting very linear story. It's a long shot, and you know it. There wasn't that much of a choice, either this or returning my trading license and hanging myself. Ooh, damn. That's rough. It has to work. We cannot fail. Not like this. This sounds like something a desperate man would say. We cannot look desperate in the eyes of our company, right? Thank you, but the last thing I need right now is a clumsy pep talk. Even pep talk. Even if it's well meant. Choice. If you have the right prerequisites, skills, perks, characters, and so on. To select a choice, click on it. Or use 1, 2, 3 to select the one you like. Navigate this event to its end. Alright, what we see here? We're steady. So this is a morale, general mental well-being and confidence of comitatus. Low morale penalizes, while high morale boosts workforce. Represents how disciplined your slaves are. We have slaves. And how obedience. At low obedience they start misbehave. Low obedience penalizes, while high obedience boosts the slave workforce. So this is slave workforce and this is worker workforce. Subservient and steady. The measure of physical state of the comitatus. So we're well rested and well fed. Represents how well fed the comitatus is, affected by the amount of food given to the crew in the long run. Low nutrition penalizes, while high nutrition boosts vigor, whatever vigor is. Low nutrition also lowers maximum vigor. I guess we'll see what vigor is. 23 bras, 8 lurk, 5 changers. Okay, so this has got to be the currency. Yes. Hold on. It's confusing. So, 1 bras is 10 lurk. And 1 lurk is 5 changers. The reason why it's weird, it seems like silver is more like... normally you would expect this one to be on top, right? Which is like gold, silver, and then bronze. Here it's all confusing. None of them are where they normally would be in our head, right? Or in my head at least. Okay, so the main currency, like the bigger currency, we have the most, and then less and less. All right. What is this? Movement points? And... okay, this is cargo. So sometimes music stops, so I'll put something to have, all right? I don't know, maybe not. Supplies for 7 days. So this has got to be like food. Cargo space. The measure of offensive power in crew combat. It is contested against the opponent's defense. To define the chances of success, attack each round. And this is defense. The measure of defensive power in crew combat. It is contested against opponent combat strengths to define the chances of success each. So, we're very offensive. Guarding your camp effectively puts a strain on your gods. Whatever that is. Look at that cute calendar. This is locked, whatever that is. Alright. So, time will tell, but I still have my doubts. It's a long shot, and you know it. None of these project the confidence I want to project, right? Even though this person knows us very well, right? It has to work. I cannot fail. Not like this. So this is the only one that projects like a good amount of confidence. I want to decide between 1 and 4. I know you feel like your hands are tired, but like I said before, you made the right choice by leading us here. I almost would go with 4, you know? Projecting confidence. Even though it's kind of like punishing him or something. But it feels very discourteous. Bro, I can't even make the first choice. Alright, because I'm pretty much deciding like what kind of character we want to play. Because it's like a roleplay choice, right? I'm gonna go with 4. Thank you, but the last thing I need right now is a clumsy pep talk. You had a smell went. As you wish, Javik. He's gonna be Javik. Says quietly. He has never been one to get offended easily, but you can sense that he's irritated with you now. We just stick to the plan then, he adds nonchalantly. Yes, it has been argued to death already. The plan. You talked your traveling company into this a few weeks ago, but with each step towards the Western Mountains, more and more of them started to have doubts. That's the reason why we chose that other answer. You know, they cannot have doubts. Such is the way of the road, perhaps. When the text in the event is highlighted pale blue, it means that you have found a codex entry. Clicking these opens codex and navigates you to the entry. Click highlighted words to open codex. The plan involves a desperate attempt at squeezing a low selling price for metal bits out of an old contract of yours in the town of Scrap Heap. Stocking up on said metal by spending your remaining coin and bringing the cargo down south around the Molten Tongue to Devon. I've seen Devon on the map when the game just started. Via Avernum and Ash. Down south around Molten Tongue to Devon. Edit. I want to take some screenshots here and there of the things that I feel might be important. Okay. All right. There is this, so I can click on it. Okay. Scrap heap. Codex is a collection of entries you find throughout your travels Entries contain information about the world and its inhabitants. When you have unread entries, the crystal on cover, okay, of the codex emanates light. Alright. Entries are displayed in a list on the left. You can search entries and filter them by category. 270 entries. Using the button at the top. Unread entries are marked by blue icon and appear on top, while already read entries have gold icon. The text on the selected entry appears on the right. The information in the codex is supplementary. It is there for those who wish to learn more about Riven Realms. You can close codex now and continue your journey. You can open it again by clicking the book at the bottom right corner. Alright, so we will have like a book here and you can click on that. I feel like it is, as it said, not mandatory, but highly advisable to know things about the world if you are to make probably good decisions. That's what I'm hoping for. Alright, scrap heap. How can I... Scrap Heap is a town on the edge of Imperial territory, just north of Molten Tongue and south of Forest of Shadows. Description: in the smoldering shadows of the Grey Mountains of the west, Scrap Heap rarely sees sunlight, as the skies are forever ashen and overcast. The air is hot and dry. Earthquakes are common. Most of the time, Scrap Heap is engulfed in smoke and ash, and a constant reddish twilight is upon it. Surrounded by a low wall, the town is just like a giant furnace. What I feel like. Surrounded by a low wall, the town is indeed made of scrap and junk, mostly stone with metal scraps, as well as leather and cloth awnings. A single tall tower stands high above the town on the hill, housing a beacon that aids scavenger teams in their return. So there's like a lot of mist. But it also gives home to the Heap King. Scrap Heap, Heap King. Inhabitants wear scarves and masks to aid their breathing. History. Well, after the calamity, people flocked to the Molten Kingdom of Dvendartar, formerly the homeland of old dwarves, on the continent, in order to plunder any riches that remain there, especially the rare metal that is still in abundance in the kingdom. Because Dvendarthar, Thor sounds like a king in like Russian, whatever, is now extremely volcanic and volatile. The scavengers did not dare to dwell in it, only in its close proximity. So the settlement of Scrap Heap was born. The town is not under imperial jurisdiction because the empire never gave a damn about its existence out of the savage, barely inhabitable mountainside, and simply let gangs and comitati gather and sell the precious metal and ore in one of the border towns. Still, some trade houses sometimes set up a temporary compound there, only to get robbed and driven out a month later. Scrap Heap is run by the Heap King, a gang lord, who organized the previously chaotic and warring work teams. Taxes. Settlement. Alright, this is our codex. Scrap Heap. We read this one. Vagrus. Vagrus is a person who leads the comitatus. The original meaning of the word is a vagabond. This leader is considered a venturer, a wanderer, and a captain. Vagri can be elected, so this is how you, multiple of Vagrus, can be elected or simply own most of the comitatus due to their wealth. Most people consider them necessary since they often bring news and trouble, but also are vital to the survival of distant and isolated places as well as flow of commerce in the empire. Most Vagri are fiercely independent, though some work exclusively for trading house. Most Vagri are fiercely independent, though some work exclusively for a trading house. Trading houses. I'm not gonna like sit here and read all of them, but I want to read a couple. Trade houses are millennium-old institutions, essentially merchant guilds that wield a great deal of influence. Houses have their own traditions, hosts of loyal retainers and agents, lobbyists in the Senate. There is a Senate. What is the Senate? Do we have a Senate here? I don't think we have a Senate here. Outposts around the continent and even mercenary armies. Typically, each great trading house has one or more monopolies, but the scene tends to shift radically from year to year. Contemporary Xerin is characterized by many isolated... What Xerin is? Okay. It's characterized by many isolated settlements divided by vast perilous lands. It's one of the main reasons why mercantilism rose to utmost importance. Trade and communication would be virtually impossible without involvement of comitati, armed caravans that traverse the wasteland. It didn't take long before the merchants started to flock together to protect their interests. Trading houses represent the pinnacle of merchant organizations. Most often, they are run by a council of merchants, a family of aristocrats, or some other interest group. Successful Vagri can hope to join these trading houses, gaining their benefits and protection, along with the obligations to pay a considerable tribute, to abide by their internal code of conduct that governs most aspects of trade. Though typically an imperial institution, a trading house can belong to almost any culture these days, and many historians claim that the first ones ever created by merchants from the Tark. All right. Where were we? The plan involves a desperate attempt at squeezing a low selling price for metal bits out of an old contact of yours in the town of Scrap Heap. Stocking up on said metal by spending your remaining coin and bringing the cargo down south around Molten Tongue to Devon via Avernum and Ash. So this is where we're going, to Molten Tongue. Molten Tongue is the name of the region in Western Xerin. Xerin, I guess, is the whole land. It is a gigantic, constantly flowing lava river. Ooh, that's where they smelt stuff. Molten Tongue is a gigantic forking lava rivers that covers a vast volcanic plain and hill region at the foot of Dvendarthar, the Molten Kingdom. Volcanic ash from the nearby mountains covers the western sky. Day and night, ash and storms and storm cloud gather over the mountains and are lit from... I have a feeling this endeavor is gonna go terribly wrong. Like, it's meant to fail. Ash and storm clouds gather over the mountains and are lit from below by the fires among the peaks. The active volcanoes keep spitting meteor and liquid fire in the distance. Many small and large lava lakes dot the region, and the ground and stones are either covered in soot or show angry red colors. Soot sot. The fine black particles, chiefly composed of carbon produced by incomplete combustion of coal, oil, wood, or other fuels.
Soot.
Set. History. Before the calamity, Dvendarthar was the kingdom of old dwarves on the continent, a land of unmatched in technological advancements, inventions, and ambition. One of older of dwarven royal lines, kings, But we're going to Devon, not to Molten Tongue. Devon is the largest settlement. Yeah, I remember seeing it on the map. On otherwise scarcely populated upper central region of the empire and its provincial capital. Today, Devon is almost completely underground in a series of dark, cool caverns accessible through chasms opening between the spires and the ruins of Old Town. Labyrinth-like tunnels and caves give home to many wraiths and others. And due to its position in the changed empire, Devon now has the Emperor's Road going through it, elevating it to a major city and trading post that managed to outgrow its humble beginnings as a shelter by taxing travelers and providing a sheltered stop on a long north-south journey. Dwellings are carved into the rock or are attached on to rock walls, but even so, Devon is stiffingly crowded. Light is scarce, mostly provided by bright kelp. City is among its greatest importers. Provided by bright kelp, the city is among its greatest importers. Before the calamity, Devon used to be a middle-sized city, and the Empire's road did not pass through it. Yet Emperor chose it as a site for one of his many mysterious projects. The spires. A crown of dozen of blade-like spires made of smooth black metal reached hundreds of yards towards the sky, occupying another city's worth of area next to Devon, after whooping 20 years of sorcerous construction. During the calamity, most of Devon proper was completely destroyed, but the spires were unscathed, except that they got buried in rubble about halfway to their tops. Even today, nobody knows what their purpose might have been. Nobody could harm the spires in any way, not even leave the scratches on their matte surface. Quite a few people survived the catastrophe in nearby cave systems, but they changed during the centuries spent living underground and became a new race. The tunnels they dug under the earth throughout the centuries since is what became the new city. That's where we're going. There is a shortage of metal in Devon, and you know several buyers who would give a pretty price for your goods. If you can only make it there before many others with a similar cargo do, such contracts are the boon of long decades spent on the road. But even if Narbo, the villain, gave you an agreeable price on the scrap heap, the road is not without its perils. Sneaking through the gap between the dead forest and the Molten Tongue is inviting disaster, so it is not a path many Vargi would risk. And of course, if this fails, you're out of alternatives. Do you think Narbo will help us out? The old scavenger was never famous for his goodwill, Javik wonders. One can only hope. I haven't seen him in years, but we always did good business. That said, you are not sure he would remember you, or if he is alive at all. If he's not willing, we must find a way to compel him. There's no telling what he would be capable of if it came to that. He has to help us out. He won't be able to pass up the opportunity to make us in debt with him. Even though the selling yourself out in such a way makes you feel dirty. I would go with the first one. I'm sure such sleazy bastards as Narble would remember all the business they've ever done, Vagrus. Javik rubs his chin absent-mindedly. You have seen this expression of his too often, not to realize he's using his sorcerer's talent to read your mind. Taking a peek? Apologies. Javik rubs his eyes quickly and looks away. You know how it is. It comes to me so naturally that sometimes I don't notice I'm doing it. Your thoughts were loud, Vagrus. I have to actually block them, you see. After joining your Comitatus 6 years ago, Javik proved to be an invaluable asset. Not only does he sense moods and thoughts around him, but he is also able to subtly manipulate others when he focuses his inner energies. Damn. It comes in handy when doing business. I would assume it would. Then there are his other perks. A few times you saw him shatter the minds of men and beasts who tried to kill him. Not a pretty sight, but a very effective deterrence. Yet, because he is not trained sorcerer, at least not in the traditional sense, his abilities are sometimes difficult to control. You have become accustomed to his impromptu thought scans, while others find it less bearable to be around him. For this reason, he kept his abilities a secret for many years overall. But you can keep a secret such as this for long in a close-knit community of comitatus, especially not if you keep bursting minds and knowing things you shouldn't. So there are only a handful of your comms who put up with being near him for any length of time. But even so, he has not probed your mind in years, certainly not on purpose, but either by accident. Perhaps he is less in control now, which suggests he's more on the edge about this whole trip than he lets on. Apology accepted. You manage a faint smile. Let us return to others and push on. There's still day's travel ahead of us. Just make sure it doesn't happen again. You grumble as you start to make your way down ridges and back to the column. A long day of travel awaits you. We'll take it easy on him. Apology accepted. Also, you can read the whole scroll from the beginning, basically, right? Which is kind of cool. Both of you head west and join column. You go back to the Comitatus. And
As we were coming up to the gates of Scrap Heap, this trash pile town of cutthroats and scavengers, we could see the vast mountain ranges of shattered Bivanda Thar looming ominously over the horizon, half shrouded in the gaseous vapors belched forth by the volcanoes in the far west. My companions prepared to do their business in town as fast as they could, not wishing to tarry in this notorious place.
all right. The codex looks a little bit silly, I ain't gonna lie. Ash Avernum Bros comes. Comes is the word used in Imperial language to describe a fellow traveler, usually someone in the same comitatus. Its original meaning is comrade or fellow. Comes, that's such a weird word, are usually sacred according to the Imperial religion, and everyone is supposed to look out for their traveling companions to the best of their abilities. It doesn't say how many we are, right? Nutrition +1. I wonder where that came from. Okay. Comitatus, Draca, Lurg, Mencius, Statio, Calamity, Dead Forest, Emperor, Empire, Imperial Calendar, Jagged Waste. Alright, let's go to the town. When Comitatus enters a settlement, you can select select from a variety of options, each of its separate pane, revolving around resting, resupplying, and trading. Settlement, you can select from a variety of options, each on its separate pane. Okay, these are the options. Resting, resupplying, and trading. You also have the opportunity to initiate stories located in the settlement. Okay. This time, only the story pane is active. Follow the only available story. Village. At the foot of the ever-fuming mountains of ancient Dwarven kingdom lies scrap heap. I was trying to understand if this is the same thing we have written in Codex, but I think it's different. The town of scavengers. Debris and junk is piled into veritable hills upon which the rickery homes of the decrepit inhabitants stand precariously. Ash lingers everywhere and the sun is almost always absent from the twilight skies. Deals are struck day and night over the precious metal scraps gathered in the ruins of nearby Vandarthar, while the Heap King oversees all from his dreaded tower. Shady eyes in the soot covered faces watch from under ash-laden awnings. Life is cheaper than iron here, some say. Track down Narbo. Story, and yeah, the others are not available. Can he be convinced to help you out? So this is the guy from whom we're supposed to buy stuff, right? You make your way to the race stash, a notorious watering hole tucked away in a small street just beneath the imposing tower of Heap King, but not quite under the immense shadow. Few frequent the establishment, which makes it perfect for Narbo and his little operation of honest merchants. Apparently the knave is not only alive, but has done well for himself in the past decade or so. If he'd done too well, it's not too good for us, I guess. Taking only Javek, you leave the Comitatus to the care of Titus, your quartermaster, while you are gone negotiating. Ashes flitting from the black sky as you cross the street and nod to the bouncer of the race stash. You give him your sidearms quietly. Rules are rules, at least as long as they can enforce them. Yet, they have the courtesy of allowing you to keep your dagger. And of course, they have no idea that Javik is capable of, should it come to his scuffle. Not that you expect such a thing, but with Narbo, one never knows. Though you have told your crew that he and you go way back, the entrepreneur is a capricious and manipulative man with whom you did not part on the best terms. Ouch. Does he remember that? Surely. Could he be persuaded to take your proposal? Who knows? Your eyes slowly adjust to the dimness of the tavern interior. Only a few candles and a lamp at the bar illuminate the common room. Shadowy faces turn towards you and observe you through the smoke. The bartender, a thick-set man in a dirty tunic, is chewing tobacco serenely. Above the bar hangs the skeleton of a large heap lizard on display. It's this thing. Narbo is sitting at the table in the back, his bodyguard half hidden in the darkness at the wall behind him. I wonder if we can see them on the picture. Maybe not. Maybe they are here or here. Probably here, if any. Make your way comfortably over to Narbo. Walk over to the bar. Sit down at one of the vacant tables. Okay, are we gonna directly approach him? I'd say so. We came there for that. No need to like fake that we don't know him. We're on a different errand. The entrepreneur. How do you pronounce that? I thought I did know. Apparently I don't. Entrepreneur. Entrepreneur. Looks up from the stack of papers in front of him. This is the guy, right? And rubs his eyes. Narbo is corpulent man with a bushy dark beard and few missing teeth. Corpulent. Basically fat. A bit obese. Corpulent. From like body, I guess in Latin. Part of his face is covered in scars similar to those left by old burns. That coupled with the withered and mutated left arm that hangs limply on his side is a clear indication of taint. It's like some kind of radiation, I guess. The merchant wears a leather jerkin studded with small bronze and pound coins. A sigil of wealth and boldness. His bodyguard, a lithe man with tribal tattoos and an outfit made of leather, moves his hand calmly to a spear that leans against the wall. Spear? Weren't they supposed to hand away their weapons? Narbo's mouth falls open at the spark of recognition flares up in his eyes. No wonder. It has been 10 years. The fuck, mate? He blinks. I thought you croaked people. Narbo waves his good hand around and looks at his bodyguard. Told tales of your demise. The man finishes his sentence for him to merchant nods. Sentence for him as merchant nods vehemently. Characterized by forcefulness of expression or intensity of emotion or conviction. Acting with great force. That business with Turnock, Outpost, and the Storm, Narbo adds. You tell him that you were indeed at Kernock when the terrible arcane storm struck. You describe the horrors of that night briefly. You add how many of your original comitatus died there. Close friends, old traveling companions, but you walked away unscathed. This was years ago. Sheesh, that fucker Iraphans. I looked after you something fierce, yeah? Narbo chuckles heartedly. But I'm sure you haven't come to reminisce about good old times, eh? Okay, we found him in a good mood, right? So this is good. His predatory smile makes you cautious, even though he invites you to sit down with a casual wave of his meaty hand. Apologize to him for an unfortunate way you parted 10 years ago. Get down to business right away. You have no time to spare. Remind him that you do not like threats, especially not insinuated ones. How are we gonna play it, huh? How are we gonna play it? I don't see it like any threats, though. What do you mean threats? Where do we see threats? I don't think we can play like big tough guy. We're here to persuade him. Far as I can tell, you never did anything against me, eh? Narbo shrugs with a weary smile. Of course, you could have sent someone to warn us. The bodyguard finishes the sentence. Back when Narbo or you parted ways, Vernum's collegium was hot on your trails. They got offended by how you two outplayed them by smuggling in a shipment of exotic spices without their knowledge and selling it to the local noblesman merchant house. You look at Narbo and tell him collegium. A collegium, plural collegia, is a traditional imperial association, a kind of guild with its own rules and rights and obligation. In the Fourth Age, they became a little more than organized crime syndicates that run the underworld of imperial cities. Collegia originate from the early days of the Third Age, from the capital city Xerin, where merchants and craftsmen began to organize themselves into guilds and unions to protect their rights, to manipulate the markets and their advantage. The Senate soon stepped in to regulate these associations, which led to intense political struggle. The collegia were eventually given rights along with obligations. Many of them oversaw parts of the civic life or services. For example, the carpenters collegium was responsible for repairing city buildings in exchange for exclusive rights in a lumbering and carpentry business. The institution soon spread to other imperial cities and provinces, and now each with their own set of guilds and associations operating under imperial law. Even during the Golden Age, collegia began to devolve into organized crime syndicates when the opportunistic and unscrupulous members of society began to see a chance to hide behind the law and spread their influence through the collegia. The Fourth Age saw the return of collegia, the associated crime syndicates, to the capital and large cities that were reclaimed by the empire. Their operations have become more and more blazing, and people are so accustomed to their ways that nobody ever thinks of questioning them. Structure and activity. Collegia are rarely involved in civic duties nowadays and are rights-protecting organizations only on the surface. Instead, they oversee all criminal activities in the city, including racketeering, prostitution, smuggling, fencing, burglary, begging, and gambling dens. They often have a great say in mercenary work and even sports activities like gladiator fights and chariot races. Most collegia are run by a single strong leader whose person may often change thanks to brutal power struggles. Under the leader are the captains, trusted officers who run most of the day-to-day business. Under them are members who are fully accepted into the collegium and are often responsible for an area of the city or a specific business. This essentially creates a criminal life model and rank ladder that can be climbed. City officials are seldom ignorant of collegiate activity and are more likely to be members themselves in secret, or at least benefit from bribes to remain silent. It was useful to know that, I guess. Avernum's Collegium was hot on our tails. They got offended by how... Okay, yeah. You look at Narba and tell him that there was no way of warning him or even knowing where he was after the chaos was unleashed following the heist in Avernum. You had to get your crew out of there, so you did. Merchant is fiddling thoughtfully with a stack of papers while listening to you. I appreciate you coming clean, even if this sorry business was so many years ago, he says after a long pause. The bodyguard becomes visibly less tense. But something tells me that ain't ya come for still. So, what is it? He breathes in. Time to outline your proposition. You explain to Narba how you want him to give you a discount on shipment of metal scraps, which you then would smuggle into Devon through the contacts of you have in the city underworld. The profit of the shipment would be quite exquisite. You do not name your contact, but divulge enough of her that the plan looks solid. Buyers, you say, are lining up, expecting shipment soon. Some choices have dependencies, meaning you can only pick a certain choice if you have right prerequisite, perks, companions, resources, journal entries, and so on. Some choices involve tests that can be failed or succeeded with different consequences. Perks, characters, and resources can change the chance of success in tests. Test difficulty is represented by the number between 1 and 100 that you need to roll, equal or below. Equal to or below. All right. Narba sits in silence, eyes fixed on the table as if listening to some noise from afar. He does not cut you off at any time during your proposition. At length, after you're done, he looks up and gives you a weak smile. That sounds like you've been thinking a long time about it, he says, as he shifts in his chair. And it's a great plan, except for the part where I give you a discount for your skin. And not much else. And I don't do that, mate. That would make me, an almoner? The bodyguard adds discreetly. Almoner. One who distributes alms. Social worker. Basically like charity, right? That word? Narbo looks at him. When the man nods, he turns back to you. Yeah, an almoner. See, I'm no almoner. You know, you gotta do better than that. What you got for me? Persuasion, charismatic. So we got some percentage, but where is from reveal that you are in the bad spot and it's your last chance. Increase your chance of succeeding in the test by 10. Cost 2 resourcefulness. Where is resourcefulness? This is the test that takes perks of all companions as well as those of Vagrus into account. Persuasion 15. This is the test that takes the perks of all companions as well as that. But it doesn't say like what it is from 1 to 100. It just says moderate. All right, we're back. We'll think on it. Tell him that you will be in his debt. He will make a tidy profits as it is, but you will owe him a favor. Ah, that's bad. Remind him that you two used to make a great team, and this could rekindle that partnership. Very low. It doesn't say, though, let him know that in exchange for this help, you can help him. Oh my god, dude. Why do I have to deal with this? Count created yesterday. All right. Remind him that rekindle that partnership. Let him know that in exchange for his help, you can help him out with a problem he might have right now. We would have gotten that. Hey, you know, how's it going, man? Who do we have here? Who do we have here? We might have gotten that if we went to the bar first, or like sit ourselves at the table and like took our time before approaching him right away. But we don't have this one. Unfortunate. I think we have to roll with this one. I'll try to use this resourcefulness thing. I don't know, like... What have you been up to, my guy? Have you played some Project Zomboid, you know? Have you been enjoying the game? Not much working? Making money? That is the way of life, my friend. That is the way of life. There was some crave. So it's basically you two playing? How many hours have you put in? Let's see if I can see it on Steam. Hey! As always, you're bloody invisible. There's nothing to do currently. I'm waiting for Monster Hunter Wilds. I have played it quite a bit. Want to play it more, but I'm currently just a little bored. Got 50 hours? 50 hours is not too much. 50 hours is not too much. All right, we can hop on it. sometime. Whenever you're feeling like it. It's going quite well. Nice. I mean, girlfriend dying, but it's going well. I mean, is she a gamer? Happy New Year, by the way. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Are you working right now? Like this very moment? Are you working today? She is a gamer, but yeah, not the best one. I played a lot of my hours. I played. It was with my brother and his girlfriend, and yeah, it's not like they were pretty good at like doing stuff like, you know, farming and helping us survive in terms of like food and whatnot. But I was in charge of all the fighting, so. The issue we got to is that we have a base and everything. And what's the issue? Water. But the farming and maintaining was what wore me out. It was a little boring. Yeah. If we're gonna play together, I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna do. We're just gonna grab a car and like scavenge forever. Just go exploring. I mean, farming is fun and all. I mean, fun and all. It's fun and all to have like a safe place to go back to, right? But I feel like the core of the game is about exploring. That's what I was doing. She didn't want to abandon the house? Come on, man. You could protect her. You're a big guy. You can fight. And once you get a car, it's not much trouble. You just trouble. Like having a car is such a big change. Like driving around and having like the skill to repair it. Such a big change to PC later. The next server we was in Louisville. Oh, I've never been to Louisville yet. To check the whole place out. Cause it's a big city and I don't know, I wanted to travel into it instead of like spawn into it. I'm assuming it's a big town. I thought it would be full of zombies, so. Yeah, since then I learned I graded engineer and mechanics. Engineer? What do you mean, engineer? Just grind mechanics, that's all. Oh, really? New patch out. Didn't know that. Oh, you traveling into it? It's insane. Yeah. I feel like you need to be a bit more prepared, if you know what I mean. It's like in beta. Oh, damn. You have to pick it manually. I see. Well, the cool thing about it is, yeah, it's like an indie game. It's also an indie game PC, and they keep on like upgrading it, and they're still looking into it. It's not like they left the project, so it's a fun game. But yeah, whenever you're available, we could play some. Also, I'm pretty sure Wolfie would come on board if he's around. It's like 2012, isn't it? It's fucking crazy. Are you free right now? I mean, I could switch the game. It's no problem to me. Let's see what's up. What Wolfie's up to. And well, Ken is not around. Okay. Can I just like save? You cannot save during events or combat. Well, it's no big deal. Can I just... It's an event, I guess. Let me do the moderate. Let me just like finish the event, I guess, and I'm done. I'm getting soon a bike. You mean like motorcycle? Hell yeah, dude. Time for Italy, you know. Absolutely. It shouldn't take long. Which bike did you get? I'll show you mine. If you show me yours. Do you have a picture of it somewhere? Putting it away for way too long? 24? Dude, getting it early, trust me, getting it when you're younger is a terrible idea. That thing, most of the good bikes, they go fast as fuck and it takes like a lot to break and it's really easy to get fucked up. Triumph Street Triple. How many cc is this? We can go on the bike rides then, man. I could show you around some like nice roads. 400, 500. Are you planning to come with a bike? No, you're not planning to come with a bike. Because 400, 500 is more like a city bike. It's not as good probably like for long travels. In my opinion, I don't know, I'd be wrong. I don't think I'll manage. We shall see. All right. Yeah, it's gonna take me like a couple of minutes to finish this event, and then this tutorial, anyways. Increase your chance of succeeding by 10. Okay. So this should use we use resourcefulness. Test fail. 93 to 69. Ah, sheesh, man. All right, I failed the test. I'm gonna quit the game.